speaking of work, co-work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The potential there is really great.
Hi, I'm Spencer. I'm a principal product manager on the Viva Engage team at Microsoft. And we're here at the Microsoft 365 Community Conference with Adam from Takeda. And very excited to talk a little bit more about what you're doing with Viva Engage and all that great stuff that you've been sharing about, bringing it back to Takeda and really just redeploying it with, all the great focus and success that you're having. So, yeah, thanks for being here today.
Happy to be here. Thanks again, Adam Levithan, Senior Product Manager of the My Takeda intranet, which of course includes Viva Engage.
So maybe you could just bring us up to speed. Like, where are you right now with your Engage journey?
We have been in Engage for a long time. It might have been known as something else prior that I'm not allowed to mention in this interview, but we've been using it for 10 years. So we have a lot of adoption and great communities that flow from personal topics to some official corporate topics, even about our treatments that are great to have and great to see all of the flow of conversation. But now we have an evolution of our entire organization with a brand new CEO who's come on board, and it was a time to take a look at what can we do different. How can we reach the 70,000 people all across the globe in different roles and responsibilities and make sure that they're connected and feel connected to our mission? And so what we're in the midst of is, as we said in our presentation, relaunching Viva Engage and putting some more structure around it so that we're engage first with a lot of grounding in all of our old practices.
That's great. And I would love to know a little bit more about the work you did to get to this point. How did you understand the communications landscape, for example, at Takeda? It's a complex world. I just want to understand a bit more.
Well, so there's a term I've used for a really long time, which is personality. So I think for everyone, it's really important to know the personality of your organization. We heard from great 100-person organizations this week, 1,000-person organizations, 4,000-person organizations, all the way up and beyond the size of our own. But it doesn't actually matter. Your personality might be identical even though your size or another different variable is different. And so for us, it was important, and we're lucky enough to have always invested in analytics to be able to look at some facts and say, how are people using the system the best you can read statistics? Then also we have a yearly employee survey. So we can see how people say that they're interacting, not specifically with Viva Engage or any one tool, but with the communications and with the leadership. And we can take some information from there. But I think what I was really excited about our corporate comms doing is taking an outside view. And it can just be an outside person of corporate comms or even someone from corporate comms. We were lucky enough to have a consultant to do an analysis and say, okay, what other angles can we look at this information from? Then we created a smaller group of representative people, had them answer a more specific survey, did interviews. And what I really thought was amazing was we did a diary study. So it's not just how people said they were interacting in the employee survey, not just what do the statistics say, not just group interviews, but literally how exactly are people using. And the greatest information was when people weren't, because we knew the true gaps and truly what we're reaching for. And I think, if I could have a drum roll, please. The bottom line that we found was that corporate communications was writing great materials, but they were being seen in the different channels the same exact way.
Okay.
And so that was the actual deep issue, was that the great material was the same great material. And that was the complaint, not that people were receiving too many emails, which was one of the assumptions and one of the immediate estimates from the survey. So that was a really great outcome from those processes. And I think, like I was mentioning personality before, anyone of any size can do that qualitative and quantitative analysis to the best of their ability, and putting it together. Doesn't have to take a long time, but it will benefit how you decide to move forward.
Yeah, that's great. I think that's something that really continues to stand out as we learn more, is that you can understand the organization, the communications landscape in your organization. That's doable no matter how big or small you are, how deep you want to go. But just doing that little bit of work up front is really just, it moves mountains when it's time to actually do the deployment. And that's where I wanted to go next, was ask you a couple of questions about that specifically. Talk to me about this. You have a new CEO. Leaders are absolutely critical for getting engaged at a level that it really feels like it's part of the organization. How are you folks thinking about onboarding leaders and making sure that they're present and they're really showing up strong and engaged with all your folks around the world?
Right, and first, I think coming away from this conference, the strength of our conviction that leaders should guide has been repeated over and over and over by the other people who are probably being interviewed here, and the other sessions. And that's really great and powerful for all of the corporate communicators to be able to bring that information back to anyone who's not as familiar with the actual channel strategy.
Yeah.
So I think that is a great takeaway from here. For us, what we're planning to do, well, actually, we're really lucky. In the timeline of what we've been doing, our new CEO has led the way. And so she's shown what engagement can be. So that's number one. Top-down, demonstrating, and also leaders already started to interact so they can see their own interaction, how that affected the numbers, and we'll share the numbers with those leaders. And then we're really creating that structure I mentioned before. We're updating all company, and then we're creating a layer of the verified, and those will be what we call business units or functions, call them departments, organizations, whatever companies will call them. And that's the landing place for that leader. And actually, our plan is adaptive. We know that there are storylines, and we know that we want leaders to be able to both present their official selves and then the more personal side of themselves. So there's the and/or opportunity, but really we want them to be interacting in their channel and then interacting with each other in and across the other channels, and demonstrating that they're watching and they're reading. Even really, if it's a thumbs up, comments will be better. But so I think just giving them the space to do that. Certainly, with their time crunch, there will be delegates too. So some of their trusted partners in corporate communications will be able to assist them with the posting. I don't think we're really going to comment on behalf of anyone, but on the posting of those initial messages. So I think we're giving them the platform, creating room for them to be able to participate and believe, as other people have said, that will demonstrate downwards.
That's awesome. That's great. It's so great to hear, and I think it's important to put that universe together of both, the building up the capability inside of leaders to want to be a part of these discussions, to really see the value of having this really powerful communications tool, but then also understanding how features like delegates and things work together to really just help enable that view. You talked a little bit about all company, and I think especially considering that you're an organization that's re-energizing, redeploying Engage with a new focus, I would love to know a little bit more about how you folks are making all company into a real central part of the strategy.
Yeah, so in my years, I'm not going to name the number, that's just wrong, of SharePoint and Engage, it's all about trust.
Yeah.
And that's typical for Microsoft, that's typical for digital platforms of all shapes and sizes, that you think you are there to buy or to receive something, but it's really about trusting that interaction. Right. So we're really focused on trust. And so right now, there's great conversations. It's just really overwhelming. Mm-hmm. So we are going to make it an authoritative source. And something about our personality, and I've only been at Takeda for 5 years, way before I started, they are a Microsoft 365 house, and the SharePoint environment and the SharePoint news is amazing. And very proud to have joined the organization that is committed to the consistency. So we have this really great base of where people post information. Now, remember we talked about the bottom line before. How do we get it to them in the right way? So all company becomes that trusted source, using announcements infrequently and wisely. And as a reminder, because announcements send a direct email, being very happy about the efforts that Viva Engage is doing about targeting a person to receive messages in their daily and their weekly summary in the right place, Teams, Outlook. Yes, they can still receive things in email, just not one at a time. Or they're actually reading Viva Engage, or in a SharePoint site reading their Viva Engage stream. So all of those different methods, but the right way, so that then they can always dive deeper into that supportive SharePoint, long form, deep informational content. But now we're going to have that trusted source of information that people really care about and that they know they can catch up on.
That's great. Yeah, we talk so much about that in terms of the all company community really being a powerful broadcast channel. There's many different ways to use it, but certainly it's a very strong way to adapt the scenario to becoming a really powerful place for people to come together. So
right.
That's wonderful. It's really, really great to hear. Just a couple other things I guess I was thinking about. I'd love to know a little bit more about how you folks are looking at communities and teams and being able to say to people, hey, we're going to bring more to you in a place where you spend a lot of time during the workday. I'd love to know more about what you're thinking about engaged communities and teams.
Yeah, so for us, it's a great add-on, and to be able to have individual choice. Our team's environment is really focused around collaboration. So we certainly have our intranet anchored in Teams, and I have the statistics. A lot of people are visiting it. And so the organization is used to being able to go to one place for all of their information as they need it. The communities, we're going to re-enliven the ability to pin and organize their conversations together, so that they can see it and get the information and not just have to wait for an alert to come up that someone posted something. So we're going to do it more on a personalized level of how they can connect their communities. And I think actually that ties to the next level down, that business unit and organizational level, that we're the verified communities, because those are going to be there. This is also something that's different for us, where we are mandating them. I hope I don't get in trouble for that, but that's probably the best word, is that the best practice is that this is a communication channel, because we are going to Viva Engage, and that's going to be different too. So now, where that didn't exist before, that's a perfect thing to pin in your team's environment, that you're in research and development and you want to keep up to date. You're working on your project, your head's down, but you can see if it's white. Did something happen? Yeah. So I think that's where that's really going to be critical for people, is as we roll out and it connects more to, I'm really only getting my messages from here. Okay, this is how I want to consume it, and being able to consume it like that. So it's not a and or, it's a with, and we'll just show people how to add that.
That's awesome. No, this is great. One other thing I guess that's on our minds a lot, especially with all the great stuff we've seen this week, how are you folks looking to use AI, or how are you personally using AI in this world of an Engage network, redeployment, all of the many things you have to do here in this space? I'd just love to know a little bit about what you're doing.
How much time do we have? Okay. Let's see. You know what? Actually, I think I'll go on the personal level, because there's a lot of Engage AI that's rolling out, and we've certainly tested, but as we've said, we're just rolling out now, so we haven't fully been able to dive in and use it. But on a personal level, I've always been focused on governance, and it definitely applies, because as we're rolling out, we're trying to trim the chaff out and see if the communities are actually being used. And we have a governance process, so we're going to re-enliven that and remind people that they can do their own work. But speaking of work, co-work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the potential there is really great. So, I'm playing around with some capabilities in Copilot Cowork to be able to look at governance in Engage, be able to see my communities, be able to tell me, what do you think about the usage of these communities? And I haven't checked all the signals yet, so we'll see how it does. But the potential is really there for Cowork to be able to do that governance piece. And then I'm sure that we're going to be facilitating our planning and our delivery and certainly writing with Copilot. In truth, actually, we do already have several agents that are voice of.
Yep.
So grounded in one of those executive leaders, and so that helps the corporate comms, rapidly create new themes and comments and Engage posts and LinkedIn posts and all the different templates. So that's another way outside of personal that we've definitely been using it in general, and that's going to easily streamline into Viva Engage.
That's great. That's so awesome to hear about all this great stuff that's happening and all the ways you folks are thinking about how to use AI to, improve everything that's related to Engage, corporate communications, the way you folks work. That's awesome. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us right now about where you folks are with Engage, the things that are on your mind? I'd just love to know.
I think, like we started, it doesn't matter what size. Also, I've expressed that we've been using the solution for a very long time. It's been out there, and I think it's natural to question, can I use this same system in a different way, and will people respond to it differently? And it is about the corporate comms, it is about the writers, and also it's about what we're exposed to out in the real world. Capital R? Yeah, the real world. And I think the answer is yes. And I've also seen the investments that I can and cannot talk about on a video that Viva Engage is putting into the dedication to the corporate communicator. So over the 20 years that I've been working with Microsoft, it really does feel like a focus, and we wouldn't be investing in it without that comfort that it was a safe place to put our corporate communications. So hopefully that brings comfort to everyone out there.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Adam. It's been so great to have you and so great to go through all of this amazing stuff this week, and just really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the Engage Customer Connection community. Please stay tuned, stay in touch. Lots of great things coming. Thank you.